This is the meeting of the CPC, Community Preservation Committee. Today is January 30th, 2024. It is 7 o'clock. We will do a roll call as who is present. Sandra Berry present.
Danielle Everkellian present.
Susan Worth present.
Dolores Ordway present.
Counselor Schneider from the planning board, present.
Great. And I see we have a member of the public here. Do you have any questions? Would you like to come to the table with any questions or concern? You observing?
No, I don't believe I've been to one of these committee meetings, and I try to have made at least one, and so this is my first time here for this meeting.
Great. Well, welcome.
Been to plenty other town meetings.
Yeah, then join me in the peanut gallery.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Okay.
So we see we have another member of the public here. So this is the CPC, the Community Preservation Committee.
Yes.
And just want to ask, do you have any questions or concerns you want to ask? This is public time, so, or are you just here to observe and see what we do and have questions later on as we go on?
Well, I prepared one of your applications for the Open Space Committee.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be here to answer questions if you have any, or
Okay.
walk you through it if you would like, or
Great.
just watch the show.
All three, right? Well, welcome, Mark. All right, so other than that, there's no questions or comments from the public. I did pass out the minutes. Thank you, Danielle, for taking those from our last meeting, which was actually in March of 2023. So let's see if people's memories can be jogged. It's been almost a year. And then we will do a discussion and a vote on the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the 9th of March 2023 as presented and hopefully read by everyone.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, minutes approved. So, formalizing committee assignments, do we wanna maybe move that, to the end, is that what you're
Sure,
talking
we can
about? Because we do have, people from the
guests.
public here,
Right.
yeah, so, okay, so for the rest of this meeting, I will continue as the chair, and then it's gonna be over.
Never mind, we'll get to that.
It's fine, I'm just, okay, so, do we wanna move to the new projects first, or should we really go over the budget?
We should probably go over the budget to get a pretty good idea of what we have.
What we have
Yeah.
what our expenses
Okay.
are and things.
In a nutshell, the buckets are at the beginning of this, and then maybe we could go over more of the information later so that the guests could present.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So, open space, 40,000, historic, 3, which I know looks small, there's a reason. Housing, 32, undesignated reserve, 83, 2. And, we only have spent 300 of the 5,000 in the admin for the annual dues. So actually, I can see we're starting to rebuild, which was a goal. So, we're on the way. There's other information here, but what we need to know for later is basically what we have to spend. And Danielle, you did a great job in capturing all those projects.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them were accomplished, either completed or in progress or taken back. The only one that didn't get put back was the 2,500 library long-range plan, because Kelly wanted to be sure the library understood that it was coming back. She was very, very sensitive to the fact that she wanted to be sure about that. So it's still sitting there, but we've already voted it back.
We've already voted it back, yeah, so.
So we can look at that later if you want to.
And that was approved at last,
Yes,
Yeah.
year,
yeah, it's in the
so-
minutes, if she had.
No, I meant at the
Town
town meeting.
meeting.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
But
we
every,
never voted them, remember you were gonna do the articles and that didn't get into the town meeting to put
Yeah,
these buckets
That's why I'm
back.
asking the question.
Yeah, because I've looked at some of these and sometimes it's in there and sometimes it isn't. So.
honestly, I don't remember, I didn't go to the last town meeting, so I don't remember. No, I
It
did
was
go to the
not.
last town
It was
meeting.
not,
I went to the
because-
special one.
That's why I was thinking, oh, wait a minute, I don't see it there.
Yeah.
But you've done it, so I figured
Oh, maybe they decided it wasn't
I don't
needed.
think Nate's into that.
I don't, maybe they decided you didn't need it.
Yeah,
I'm
it could
thinking
be.
that.
Because
And-
every project that we approve, or that the town approves, that we say is allowable, they're given a time limit to spend the money, and if they don't spend the money, the money can and should go back to the CPA.
Right, which
the
is
CPC,
something we
yeah.
need to look at in a few.
well, and
days.
we give them 2 years, and then when that 2 years is coming up, we will reach out to them and like, your project time is coming up, do you need extended time? And they know we always reach out to them that they can come and request extended time, so.
Then we can
Yeah.
deal with that later, and that's in the second, set of things. Then I'm gonna talk
Okay.
about debt obligations, the warrants for this year, the state match, the CP2 report, and then the annual town report. It's kind of a
Okay.
lot of housekeeping stuff, so.
Mhm.
Okay, so even though we have this, I'm not doing the math real well, but I'm gonna say, I don't know, 70, like $195,000 maybe. We do have a debt of 32,000 roughly that will
Yeah.
have to be paid, okay.
Right. It's 4 of 5, 31,260. And then we have one more fiscal year 2026 of 30,630. So we're getting there.
We're getting there,
Rainbow Plate.
okay. That is good, so is everyone fine and comfortable with knowing where we sit, so we can discuss the applications?
Absolutely. Do you have anything else that needs to add to this?
Well, some of it takes some discussion, so
Okay,
do you wanna do that now, or?
sure.
Oh, okay, alright. Alright, the debt obligations, and we just went over that. We do need to write a warrant then for the Rainbow Playground. So we need to decide who wants to do that and I haven't seen anything about that anyone. Because when I looked back, it said it was due February 1 last year, and I thought, that seems early. But the warrants aren't due yet. I haven't seen
No.
anything about it.
They've not
Okay.
been opened yet, I don't
And
think.
then we also need to write a warrant for the estimated revenue, and I will have to say, we did an A+ job last year because it was 100,000. Basically surcharge, the revenue, and then the statement, the surcharge, and then the, interest, and then the match, and it was basically on the money.
Yep.
So, it's better to be under than over,
Oh, absolutely.
generally speaking, so we probably don't have to finalize that tonight, but
No.
if we have another
We
meeting
have
to.
we have till the end of April to finalize that,
Right, but just be
so.
thinking about it. And I just wanted people to be aware of, some of the things that go into the mechanics of, here's the debt, it's fund keeping, there's only one thing to keep track of now. The state match is available on the coalition website. There's so much information, so I just thought you might wanna take a quick look and pass that around. Another one of the things, and they're pretty good at updating it,
Yep.
and.
They've been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah, actually, they have moved to a new location and they
Yes.
have moved to a new
Name
business
and-
partner
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I will look at that as a good thing because they do so much for the state.
Yeah, and I think all of us get their emails.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we do have 2 warrants to write, one for the playground debt and one for the estimate that we know about.
Mhm.
Unless a project gets approved and we might have to write another one or 2. Let's see, the CP2 report is an annual report by Kelly, the town accountant, to the Department of Revenue. So I just thought you might wanna just look at this because this is something that has to happen each year when the tax revenues are basically in. and she reports to the state, and that's partly how they do the, match. So just so you know, that goes on.
The CP2
And
numbers.
then, last but not least, if somebody else wants to write the town report this year, that would be fine with me. If not, I'll do it. But there's an easy, form that I've been using. The first paragraph for the town report is basically the background. A little bit of nuts and bolts of the history of our CPC here in town. The current warrant articles, the CP data, which is on that form. Update on recent projects and personnel updates. For example, when people leave, we thank them. When people come aboard, we say, we're glad you're here. So if somebody else wants to do it, just let me know and I can send you the, Word format, and then you wanna PDF it before you would send it to the town clerk.
Can I ask some quick
Sure.
clarifying questions?
You
went
don't
through a
even
lot
wanna
of
get into
material.
that, but I'll do the best I can.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I saw that you had written in the, in this page here, the tax surcharge of 74,000.
Right,
And
and the
then the
CP two says what? Well, that's last year though, that's 2023.
Yeah, you wrote down, well, fiscal year 2024, you're right.
Oh,
So this is 24 and this is 23?
yes,
Okay, gotcha.
okay, except the, match is for fiscal year 2024 on the last page. See, it's confusing.
Yeah,
So
that's why I'm asking the
they do
question.
that, and you should see the formula they use to come up with the
So
percentage.
this does not correspond to this year?
No,
Okay,
no.
gotcha. All right, thank you. I wanted to check the percentages, that's why I was kind of wondering, because last year we had 21,
It was actually 18.9%,
so they've actually
but
gone down.
it was basically 100,000 with, I think we thought, what we had
You
written
you
here,
added a total of 100,000.
basically. But it's a little bit more because on that CP two, it says, 116,000. But that was the year that she overestimated, that's 23, fiscal year 23, right? The CP two there?
Yep.
Yes, okay. She overestimated, and it was a nightmare. She had to take stuff back, deduct stuff from buckets because of the overestimate. That's why I said, it's better to be under than over, because it was a nightmare untangling that.
And it's all an estimate and you just don't know
Right.
until the revenues come.
Well, but you can see trends, and for a while it was low, and then it went way up,
It's all based on
and
real
now
estate.
it's going down again.
It's all based on real estate.
It's, yeah, exactly.
See,
It's-
well, that's where the funding
the
comes from the
right.
state.
Right, so we wanna use a little common sense, but I'll have to say, last year, we were right on.
So, I mean, I'm calculating that if it was 18.5, what we got from the state, right? Which is what you have here?
All right, that was what we estimated, what we
Okay, these are-
actually
these are-
got.
These are total estimates then,
Yeah, right.
but the actuals are here then,
Yes, that's the
Gotcha.
CP two form for fiscal year 2023.
right?
And the first time I looked at one of those, some of it's easy to understand because she breaks it down as to how it got spent, but there's so many different ways that you can do that. For example, debt, it should be separate, but it's not. So, does that mean the interest, or does that mean, and so I was trying to pick it apart, and Stuart said, chill.
And they know what they're doing. They pay professionals to do it, yes.
As long as the numbers overall, match. And as I said, last year was horrific. But if you wanna go over it more, I'd love to have a three-way call with you and Kelly too.
No, that's, I'm just trying to wrap my head around
Oh, I
this
know,
here.
it's not,
And
that's
so-
why a lot of people say it's worth its weight in gold though. It
Yeah.
does so much good, but a lot of town employees are not fond of it because it's a lot of extra work.
Oh, wow.
So,
Checking on the stuff.
not our town employees, but I've heard, Alfred and other towns.
Thank you.
Okay, so, and let me know about the annual report if somebody else wants to do it. Okay, unless
Okay.
there's more
Can we
questions.
agree that we would like her to continue with the annual report?
If she's
Yeah.
comfortable.
I don't mind, because I'm kinda used to it.
Yeah.
But, and the truth is that I'd appreciate input next time when we meet. Well, what have we done more lately? We haven't been as active.
Well, we're only as active as we have applications.
Well, that's true too, but in a
So
way
last
that's
year
good.
we had no applications.
Because then we have a chance to kind of build up the funds again in a natural way without having someone feel cheated.
Correct.
Interject, we don't have to have a motion for that, right? Okay.
I don't think so. Okay,
Cool.
alrighty.
So-
And I'll keep, heads up as to when it's due.
So I'm just gonna slip in something really, really quick, cause you were talking about CP2. So, there's also another form that, the chair completes, it's called the CP3. And it's just, you go in and every time we have a project, we have to put it into the CP3. And it just asks questions, when the project started, how much is it funded, blah, 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 blah. So I just went in and, filled out everything, what projects were completed, what projects were still open, and.
That's the database that the CPA uses.
Yes.
The towns fill it.
Right.
Correct.
So,
So, that's where they get all their information from us. So if anyone wants a copy of this, what I've done, I would gladly make a copy, but other than that, you can go right on the website yourself and look at it.
So
And it
the-
will tell you what projects are actually, completed and which projects are still open,
Okay.
so. But, yeah, so that's been done, that has to be done by September 15th, and that was done. Okay, so everyone's comfortable with the explanation from Susan about the budget and
There's
everything?
always more.
Well, you can
though.
always talk about it, but you can crunch numbers forever. So, why don't we have, Mark, do you wanna present your project, your application?
Sure. Everybody has a copy of this, right?
Yes, everyone has a copy, yep.
So it might help you a little bit if I give you the backstory on this, which actually isn't in the application. The application is for a project to create accessible trails out of the Malone Road Conservation Area, which was originally acquired almost 20 years ago now, partially with CPA funds, mostly with a land grant from the state, and fundraising as well. But I believe the notion of getting better accessibility to the trails out there goes all the way back to that era when Jesse Bratko and Dottie Athens were putting together the plan for acquiring this. But 5 years ago, the Open Space Committee took the first sort of concrete steps to making it more accessible, and we became involved with a program with the VA, which provides all-terrain wheelchairs to qualified veterans. And we created a short trail right around the meadow there that it stabilized the base, made it so it wasn't muddy anymore, and we were able to use it as a site for testing on those chairs. But that's not truly accessible. I mean, it's basically cobbles, crushed stone cobbles. You can't push a stroller on it or a standard wheelchair. It was fine for the all-terrain wheelchairs. So that was kind of the first phase. And then 2 years ago, we pitched the ARPA committee on a larger project to make that trail and some additional trail length truly accessible with a smooth stone dust surface. Ultimately, I don't know if you followed the saga of ARPA in town, but
Yeah, cause you were approved at that meeting.
uh,
By the
not- not-
ARPA committee, but then it goes to Board of Selectmen and they can change it,
Yes.
cause I was at that committee.
Yes, it was passed through the ARPA committee.
Yeah.
It did not make it intact through the select board. There was just too much competition for the funds. They did set aside a quarter of the original proposal to act as seed money for a grant application on this project. The original grant was done under an ADA grant program. That was not successful. And then just last year, we arrived at the current proposal, or, yeah, I mean, we started developing the concept for the current proposal. We didn't originally, you know, at no point along the way did we think that getting out to Dottie Rock, which is a wonderful viewpoint, great view of Wachusett Mountain, we didn't think we could get out there with an accessible trail. We just thought it was gonna be too steep. The existing trail is too steep. But over this past year, we sort of rethought that and did some new scouting out there, and we found out that there is a gentle enough route to get out there with a fully accessible trail. And that sort of changes the whole complexion of the project. Because if we can get out there with an accessible trail all the way to the overlook, that's a different kind of experience than you have at other accessible trails in the area. Typically, accessible trails are going around meadows or looking out over a wetland or a pond or something like this. That to get out to a wonderful view is really fairly dramatically different. And it's just a quirk of the geology out there. Malone Road is on a sort of a plateau, and there at Dottie Rock, that it just falls off the edge at a cliff, basically. But there's the parking lot and the overlook are exactly the same elevation. So we don't need to gain any elevation at all to get out there. We just need to traverse a little bit of a dip and a little bit of a climb on the way. So that becomes a much more attractive project, and that's what you're looking at right now.
Okay, I just have I have one quick question. So it says the amount requested is $10,000?
Yes.
Okay, because I was a little confused, because on the second page, it looks like you're looking for 17.5, but I just wanna make sure the numbers are correct. You know, right above need for the project says 17.5 in request CPA,
Yeah.
is that including ARPA funds?
Yes.
Or is that 17.5 just
Yeah.
from CPA?
No, it's 10.
Okay.
10 from CPA, it's 75 from ARPA.
Okay.
Who's the volunteers, the unskilled labor people?
Well, I'm gonna take offense there.
That's us.
No,
That would be him.
No, the Lions Club just did the pavilion in the,
Yes,
in the,
and
that was all
I actually,
us.
yeah,
And you're right about $4,000 for picnic tables, because that's what they cost.
yeah.
And you're gonna need to have a special ramp for your wheelchairs and a special picnic tables that
Right.
are good for the.
Scoot under.
Yeah,
Right,
right,
yeah.
okay, that's all.
Well, he's
Yeah,
got that
no,
all
the
figured
labor,
out.
the labor is largely, Open Space Committee
Oh.
and donated equipment,
Uh-huh.
from Bob Hatch of the Open Space Committee. I did talk to Rich Clapham,
Oh, good,
about the
good.
possibility of Lions pitching in on the actual
Right, yeah.
construction on the deck
Okay.
out there. But
Um,
that hasn't been, we haven't worked out any details
Okay.
there.
You could come to one of the meetings and discuss this anytime. that's-
Yeah, I mean, we're talking over a year from now.
Okay.
This would be summer of 2025.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you don't see it starting this summer?
It can't. I mean, the main funding that we're looking at here is coming from the Mass Trails grant program.
And has that already been approved?
No.
Oh, so you're
No.
still waiting for
The
that grant money
application,
to
the
come through?
application is actually going in tomorrow
Okay,
on that portion of the grant.
and when do they make the decisions, like July or something?
They make the decision by June, but then it's partial, it's a federal program.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come out until the start of the federal fiscal year in
It's
October.
October, yeah. Yeah.
So construction is out for 24.
No, that's fine, I've applied for many grants and I know it's
It's
slow
a
wheel,
waste.
it's a slow wheel. And I've worked for the federal government, that's even slower.
Yeah.
I think it's a great project. And I feel bad that the opera money didn't come through, because, yeah, that would have been very helpful.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, that would have been
Yeah,
nice,
it would have been.
but the adversity actually got us thinking in a different direction,
Sure.
and the end result is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
My tech also has boys that would come out and help.
Mm.
You gotta apply for
That's a
that.
good idea.
You have to
Yeah.
apply for that in
Yeah.
Like
advance though,
Habitat.
so you should, if you're even considering it, you should apply with the school
Yeah.
now.
Now for.
Because they line up,
2025.
they line up their students early. So I think, sorry if I'm stepping on you.
No. Alright.
Obviously, we have to review it and see if it's an allowable use of CPA monies. It is. I don't think there's anything where you can see where it's not an allowable.
I went
use.
through your
Correct.
criteria, I'm pretty confident that it is.
You've done
No,
exactly what's requested,
Yeah,
where you've,
great job.
you've went out to get grant money to try to pay for it other than just using CPA monies.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for leverage, and this is absolutely
Yep.
leverage all the way. You know, if we get the Mass Trails grant, it's about a 5 times multiplier on the cash
That's
being
right.
put up by the town.
Very close, yeah.
And it looks like we have money in the open space bucket.
Absolutely.
So do we need to have more discussion on whether or not we think this is something that's allowable and something that the town voters would wanna have on their next meeting?
I think it looks good.
In my opinion, this is a perfect project for the community. And not only that, but I think there's quite a lot of action going on in trail work. I know by working with our chair, Christopher, there's been some work done with trail rehabs around the areas and so forth.
With Mike.
And Mike
And
also.
Mike, yes.
He's very active and
And
those
so
sorts of things.
For all intents and purposes, this complements it very nicely. And I think the $10,000 that the CPA can grant here goes a long way.
So you're making a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion that we, I didn't know if this was the right time to do it, but I'm happy to do
Unless,
it.
unless people have questions.
And then you know for tomorrow for your
Yeah.
other things,
Sure,
that's
so
for
why don't I
sure.
make the
Oh,
motion
the
that we-
application's going in regardless.
Yeah, well, I know.
So why don't I make the motion that the CPA project application as presented by Mark Reski for the Dottie Road accessible trail construction, Malone Road Conservation Area be accepted and approved by this committee.
And can we add to that just a little bit and just designate where the money's gonna come from and if it's in full, and I would suggest that, but I can't motion it.
As so indicated by the chair.
Okay. $10,000 out of the open space paid in full.
Sounds good.
All in favor?
No, you need to second
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry,
A
oh,
second.
sorry.
Second it.
And then you need to discuss, if there's any
other-
discussion.
Any other discussions?
Go with the seeing none, we all love that phrase.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, I agree, but perfect
shovel.
project.
The
Yeah.
town, well, especially if the town, which one of the town's goals seem to be to do green tourism, this is a
Mhm.
great way.
Yeah.
They included
Absolutely.
that in there.
Absolutely.
This
Yeah.
attracts people, this
It
brings
does.
people into,
Even people, if you just have a baby
Yeah.
and you wanna go walking in a
Stroller.
stroller, you know?
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's part of the master plan for the last 20 years,
And
25
now
years
it's
been around.
happening.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
It
And-
is exciting, and it's, and you know, and kudos to the open space for taking these projects on and moving them forward. Because without a committee like open space, we wouldn't have them,
Yeah.
or an active committee. I should say, an active open space committee.
Oh, I mean, the amount of work that went into this, mostly Mark, Mr. Mark, but everybody did their thing. I'm just gonna add the one other thing. Rick, my husband Rick, was supposed to get, he reached out for some letters of support for this kind of project. And the deadline, of course, was coming up, and they just came in late last week, and you read through those, and I'm gonna get teary because it's like, yeah, you don't know how many times I've waited in the parking lot because I couldn't go. And it happened in 2 of the 4
Well,
letters, and I
Get those
thought-
letters together for the town meetings. Push this
Oh, I
project
don't
through.
think this will be a problem, but
I don't think
yes,
it will either,
no,
yeah.
but just, they were just so moving, so I may even send those along with, that's all right, so they can have a chance to read them, because
Sure.
they were all different, but all heartfelt, and it was like a.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't wanna bombard you with detail.
I know, it's-
There's a whole lot more detail in the Mass Trails grant. If you're
Mhm.
interested, I'll forward it along.
But I'll forward the letters, if that's all right, because
Yeah.
they're worth reading. It makes you very thankful.
And I actually will put it in the Mass Trails
Oh.
application for tomorrow that you took the vote tonight. And
Great.
it's passed through,
Mhm.
just
We're in.
pending town meeting.
Pending town meeting. Yep,
Wonderful.
great.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next project is the First Parish Unitarian Church.
Yes, and I don't see anyone here to talk on its behalf.
I do not either. Although I would have been making a motion for us to pass over this to give us time to review with CPA, because I'm not 100% sure it's an allowable use. Not only because, not just because it's a church, that can be an issue, but it's an internal part of the building.
Right.
It's a maintenance issue, it's
Yeah.
the roof.
Yeah.
And it's the sanctuary, which would definitely be a separation church and state issue.
I
So I
also
would have
was-
moved to talk to Stuart and see.
I also wanted to question the fact that we only see one,
Quote,
one quote.
one quote. Though I'm surprised that's as low as it is considering the amount of work. And I thought it was a good thing that they divided it, saying, well, if we only do a partial amount, it'll be this, if we do the whole thing. But anybody who's worked with equipment, once you get the scaffolding up there, you don't do half of it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
The other
Well,
church,
this is
I
what-
was
Do
surprised
we
to see
agree
this.
with, Danielle, though, that we should maybe table it until we
Okay.
get some guidance from Stuart, because we're talking about things and we don't, he's gonna be able to give us a little more guidance, whether it
Yeah,
falls
but
under.
it'll boil down to whether or not we wanna take a chance on it and see if
Yeah.
the people wanna do it. Because that's what they said about the evangelical church too. And
Because
we
it's
did
an
Yeah,
have,
but
historic
we-
building, yeah.
But with the evangelical church.
it's
just to-
exterior, I know.
Well, not only is it exterior,
Mhm.
but we lost. We put it through, we put it on the top, and then we couldn't get it bonded. And then became this whole nightmare the first time through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there
Yeah.
was,
Went
I
through
think
like
the
3
third time was the
Yeah.
charm, partly because you didn't have to finance it. Remember, we had 100,000,
Mhm.
and that was the time to do it,
And they
because
had,
to try to finance would be
Yeah.
problematic.
and they
Even-
came up with a lot of money on their own, truly, for a
Yes,
little
they
church,
did,
they did.
they did, which is a good thing.
But that really, I mean, and the reason why we couldn't get a bond was because nobody would
Touch it.
touch it because of the church and state
They'd be afraid of
issues.
litigation and
Yeah.
so forth, I get it, but it's definitely not gonna happen if we don't even try.
No, but I would consult with the state to see whether or not it's an allowable use. I did go on the little workflow chart, and it didn't really seem like it, because you're not preserving or restoring an historic
Oh, those
point.
words, aren't they
You're,
awful?
those words
You're
are,
rehabilitating.
You're
You're
repairing, you're
repairing.
repairing damage.
and that's
yeah.
a different situation.
The other question I had is that this damage came as a result of a water that came through the roof, right?
Which they just did the roof.
Well, no, I
think-
understand, the point I'm trying to make though
Yeah.
is from an insurance perspective, any water damage that comes from water that comes from an exterior source, my understanding is that is certainly something that should be cleaned.
Right.
And so I understand why the insurance company wants to have this fixed, but the other question I have is why was this not covered on the insurance?
Right.
So there's a lack of explanation here that I think needs to be clarified also.
Though insurance is mentioned twice, under 2 and under 4.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. And does anybody know this person that lives on?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think we should write to Nancy or reach out to her and them, cause I'm surprised there's no one here
I am too.
to talk about it,
Cause,
yeah. Because our meeting was posted and they knew we were posting in January and,
but then my question will be, if we don't do it, who's going to? How else will it, do you think, you can't just go to the town and, well, okay, I know you didn't
Okay.
wanna talk about it
Well,
last
we're,
time,
but
but we
again,
will.
it's a this is a private,
What?
private building, the town doesn't own
I don't
it.
think so.
Correct,
I'm sorry.
This-
which has always been an issue when
Right.
it comes to how
Long
do we
time.
manage to maintain it.
We, the
because it
town
is-
doesn't have rights to it, I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm not saying it's not
Yeah.
a valuable asset to the town, and it's not a beautiful church, it is. But it does, I think it needs to be reviewed with the state to see if it's even allowable use.
Okay, well, just some ideas for thought. Historic resources, building, structure, vessel, real property, document or artificial artifact listed on the State Register of Historic Places, which it is. It's on the National Registry. Didn't it say that?
it is.
Yeah,
According to them,
that's
it says so.
major to get that accomplished. The church is on the National Register.
According to them, it is.
It is, there's a plaque in the church, I saw it.
Yeah.
Do they have services there anymore?
Well, at the brass group, I go every year.
Oh.
They must have religious services as well.
Not as much,
I
there's
don't
not
think
much
there's
of a
a minister.
congregation, they do
There's
Christmas
nobody
and
there.
Easter, and that's about it. But, okay, so I'll just finish this up, we don't need to get into the archaeological things for historic sources. Okay, so acquisition, yes, in other words, if we wanna buy a Greek vase or something, we could do that, cause it's, preservation, yes. Rehabilitation and restoration, yes. Make capital improvements or extraordinary repairs to make assets functional for intended use, including improvements to comply with federal, state, or local building or access codes or federal standards for rehabilitation of historic properties. So, just be thinking about it. It might end up being a bust, I could see that happening, but we don't know if we don't try. So I'm
Yes.
in there gung ho, and I'll do some research, you do some research.
Well, we'll reach out to the state and see
Yeah.
if it's an allowable use.
But if you're talking to Stuart, I don't want both of us calling it.
Yeah,
You-
I'll
you
talk
wanna
to
do-
him,
Okay,
yeah.
alright.
And I sat on the side of 68 talking to him years ago with the church up here,
Mhm.
with a lot of explanation as to how the town doesn't own it, it's taxpayer money, it's a church. This instance, it's the sanctuary,
But originally it was a meeting house.
but currently it's a church.
It's not gonna be a church for much longer, unless they come up with a Montessori school or some source of income,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise that building's gonna fall apart. Because I'm on the garden tour thing, I've
Mhm.
met the Whitney family, and they're basically holding the church together along with this other
The hubby.
individual.
Yeah.
And they put their own money in for the heat, for the
Oh,
winter.
I'm sure they're wonderful people, and I'm sure
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
yeah.
building is
Right.
delightful. It's whether or not it's an allowable use of
We
CPA
have
funds.
money invested in the clock, the
Yeah.
historical commission
Right,
and
which
the
is
clock.
in their
Yeah.
steeple.
That's in the steeple.
Yeah.
It's one of those, it's typical of towns though. Well, they own this, but you
Yeah.
know, so, yeah, well, let's explore.
Yeah.
So
I think
let's,
that's fair.
So I'll
So,
check with Stuart and
let's
see.
table it and let's, at our next meeting, we will
Invite them.
request them to come and speak on their application.
We could even spend some administrative money on another legal opinion, but it's different than the one there. Because the key pin, the linchpin for that one was exterior work. And so that made all the difference, I think, so.
Yes.
But rehabilitation and restoration, that was,
So someone has to make the, well, sure. I'll make the motion to table the CPA project application as presented by the First Parish Unitarian Church.
Second the motion.
All in favor? Or any other discussion?
No. yeah.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
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 And I will reach out and I'll follow up with you. on that.
Yeah, and I'll reach out to Nancy and, anyway, I mean, I know the whole bunch of the Hubbards,
Yeah.
and I'm
And I mean,
familiar with both.
again, it's
Yeah.
not like I'm
no,
against
no,
the
I get it.
project, it's just, we just need to make sure
Well,
that it actually is.
we probably wouldn't be sure until it came right down to the town vote. But the people need a chance to have their say. That's partly how we should be working.
And they can answer some questions about the insurance and things like that,
Mm.
that have come up
That's
tonight. So
right.
asking them to come to represent their application, you know, I think it's gonna inform us better.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely.
Everyone comfortable with that application? So we sort of have a third application.
We sort of.
We actually do. So an application was given to us, for the fall town meeting, but it was from the Council on Aging, and it was way past the deadline. We were not gonna be able to meet in time to get it on the warrant. And there were a lot of, they didn't finish the application. They left, questions 1 through 6
Blank?
blank. So, I mean, I do have a copy for everyone if they wanna look at it, but I did talk to Claudia today. She says there's been a revised application submitted. It's disappeared out of thin air, I don't know where it is. So, she's not here, she's in Florida. She said Nate helped her complete it, so I went to Nate, Nate says he did, no one can find it. She-
That doesn't help us, does it?
Huh? So,
Another copy.
well, no, I'll be honest, it's, everything's done in good faith, I understand that. Supposedly there was a revised copy, they had it yesterday, they left it in the senior center for me to pick up this morning. I got there today and no one can find it. Like,
Oh.
and we called Claudia down in Florida, and she's like, so-and-so has it, and so-and-so says, oh, I went home sick yesterday, I think I left it here, but maybe someone else moved it. We couldn't find it, we went through,
Oh,
like,
goodness.
every
Nook and cranny.
nook and cranny in the senior center.
That's a challenge, there's lots of nooks and
A lot of
crannies.
stuff over there. So, I kinda said to Claudia, you know what, Claudia, we can accept this and table it until you can provide a revised one, so I said, so I will absolutely pass this out to you, but it's incomplete and it's not the current one.
So we won't be able to do much with it
So we
tonight
can't really
anyway.
do anything with it tonight, but I did tell her, she did present the, we do have it, and someone's gonna find the revised, edition, and we can go from there.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to accept the Council on Aging's application, but table it until the revised application can be submitted.
Could we have a little discussion ahead of
Yeah,
time
what
to
is-
save some time?
Can we have
Well,
some context on this here?
I can actually give you a little bit of information, so, this is for the deck. The seniors are putting a deck on the back here. This is really kind of wonderful news, but they have all their funding now. They had a
They do?
huge donation was
Yeah.
just given to them.
Oh, so it's a moot point.
It's a moot point.
Yeah.
However, I asked her about it and she said, well, we really scaled back what we wanted to do, so we really would like to do our full vision. Because if we could get additional money, we could do the full vision, or version of what they wanna do.
Interesting.
So,
Okay,
Put a roof on
but
it.
that's what they
Then
wanna
we
do.
need-
They
we
wanna
need-
put a
we need-
roof on it.
Yeah, I mean, you
Oh.
figure,
a roof on the
So-
deck.
Yeah, they
Right.
wanna put like a roof over it.
that was the beginning of,
yeah.
Well, my first question was which category? And they put it in housing.
Yeah, they
That's
can't
not-
do that.
That's
They-
not correct.
Well,
No,
because
that's
I
in
think
recreation.
they got it in
They're in
recreation.
recreation.
But again, they didn't provide any of these questions, like how does it meet the criteria, or what is the need for the, they didn't give us any of that information.
that was my biggest
So-
question, because it's definitely not historic.
It's-
Well, is it open space, cause it's outside?
Passive
No.
recreation,
I would go, and it's funny, cause we talked about this before with them. And recreation, it could, cause they can do events
Activities
out
out
there and other things and it's activity, so it would be passive recreation, or recreation in general, not necessarily passive.
And what about the ADA considerations?
I think that's all.
Well,
they're
that's what I mean,
considering.
it could be a
Yeah.
plus for their
Mhm.
application,
Correct.
because
So, so I did say to her, because we couldn't find the revised application, I said, I will bring this and we'll see what we talk about, but we really need to know what exactly you're looking for.
Yeah, what the cost
And
actually
what
will
the
be.
cost is, what more do you need, you've already met the funding for some of it, or scale it back.
This is another thing Monty Tech students couldn't bid in on, you know?
Yeah,
That
I mean, but
was
Monty
not-
Tech, I mean,
They get,
they have what, 20-something towns that go there, so all these different communities,
Right.
they apply to be accepted as a project from Monty Tech.
it's
Yeah.
great.
So you have to apply well in advance.
well in advance,
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
they basically did the habitat.
yeah,
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 they were great.
yeah.
That was exciting.
So they've done a lot of, they've done
Except
great.
long term, how many
Yeah,
years
chit-chatty.
are we gonna be in this building forever? Or-
Okay, so can we,
Oh,
do we
that's
still have
a-
questions on the senior center project that we can't vote on yet, because we don't have enough information?
We don't have enough
No,
information.
you're right.
So,
The
My
application,
motion
first
still
of all, the
stands.
application is incomplete. Second of all, I think there's some question as to what the actual funding will be potentially used for. There's questions about it here.
Yeah.
So why don't we just simply table it for now?
so I'll motion to table it.
Right.
Who wants to like to second that?
I'll make that motion, to table this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So now we come up to the final part of the meeting, I think, right? The reorganization of our committee.
Well, don't we need just more members too, technically?
Yes.
Well, that's,
That's
you know
the
what,
second
that's
one.
something.
things that we
So that was something I
So
was-
they leave?
I've been to enough meetings. Have a good evening.
That couldn't have been a better segue. See ya, Mark.
Take care.
Bye, thank you. So that is something that I was gonna bring up. Technically, I'm still the chair, so, but I knew about it and I wanted to bring it up, right? How does that, where it's, things
Not anticipated by the chair.
Not anticipated by the chair, and I am the chair, but something that came up when I went to the Mass, state law meeting in the fall, it got brought up about, we have, the bylaws say we have 9 members, we can't fill 9 members, and so I think we need to decide if we should try to change the bylaws, so we don't have to have 9 members.
7 would be hard, wouldn't it? I mean, we're 5 and we're sort,
Yeah.
oh, Mary, but,
So Mary's sick,
yeah.
but aren't you supposed to have an uneven number? No, you don't have to? I don't know why I was
For
thinking that.
votes, you mean?
But I mean, in
Yeah.
truth, I mean, like, I'm an at-large, you're still,
Parks.
you're Parks still?
Oh yeah, I got roped back in.
She laughs.
Don't laugh that hard.
I
So
love
you're
that
coming
about you though.
You coming in, through the Parks Department?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You're
As I do.
planning
with
board.
Planning board, exactly.
And you're historic. Right.
We should have put in, and we were too late for it, to put lights around the pavilion. That was one of the things that we talked about, but now the town owns it, the Lions doesn't anymore. So somebody has to put in an application, but it's too late, so
Lions
next
can
time.
still come in and put in an application and bring it to bring it to Parks and say, this is what we think can do, and
Right,
through the
because
lines
it would be
through the
nice to
Parks.
have lights around, there's power, and, to have it lit up, because at night, kids are gonna hang
Oh,
out
right,
up there and.
It would get more use then,
right,
and good
yeah.
use, yeah.
So,
Or less untoward use in the
Oh,
dark.
there we go. Untoward, that's an old fashioned word, I love
Oh,
that.
I know all kinds of old-fashioned words.
Oh, she's an old fashioned girl. Oh.
So
Oh,
Parks is
well,
Santa.
how much money is they're looking for? Do we know if that amount is
Who?
about the neighborhood, or not this, where we're talking about lights now?
I don't
Oh,
know
no,
what it would
we're
be.
not, we're staying on our, let's deal with our.
Oh, that's right, we're
About
gonna,
quorum,
let's
yeah,
stay
we're
on topic.
changing the bylaws.
So that would have to be done this next meeting, right, or is it the next town meeting, is that what you're aiming for?
Who?
To change the bylaws?
Well, I just think I
It needs
just
to be
think we
discussed.
struggle, we're
Except-
constantly struggling to
Yeah.
have a quorum, because we have to have 9, so maybe we,
So the actual makeup is historic, open space, planning board, parks. How many at-large members?
there's 3, I think.
So 3 at-large members, there's one of those empty right now.
And there's, housing, right? Did you say housing?
But
There
that
should
got
be.
folded into planning board,
Yes.
there's not a housing committee
So
anymore.
technically that should
doesn't even
eliminate
exist.
one.
You were the
That's what I-
housing
yes.
committee, aren't you?
I'm on the affordable housing committee, which hasn't met lately, but that's separate from,
It's
that's like an
not a
advisory
formal-
committee, it's
oh,
not,
alright.
Yeah.
So
It's-
technically, we're already down to 8.
yeah, so that housing committee doesn't exist anymore in the town of Hubbardston, it did at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then conservation commission is the other one.
And they have never brought somebody here, right?
No, they
Yeah, they
did,
did, Kayla was here for a few
But
years.
for-
Oh,
but she's
yeah,
no longer
she
here,
showed
that's
up.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
she's no longer here.
She was.
They have not replaced Kayla with anybody else.
Correct.
no.
So is that something that, I mean, we can work with, Rick and team, say, look, we need somebody from your team.
Do you want to,
Who else is?
approach Rick and ask him about, I mean, it's not that many meetings, it's only a few.
No, I understand, and, it's usually around this time of the year, and
Yeah.
then pretty much it ends on the
Yeah.
April timeframe.
Yep.
So it's a focused area for about 4 months.
And plus Conservation Commission should want some kind of seat at this table and
Oh, I
some
would
money
think
for their
so.
projects.
For the project, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can reach out to Rick
Great.
and ask him,
Who else is on that? Rick and?
Larson, Kayla's father,
Oh, okay.
Gentleman, I forget what his
Oh,
name is,
okay.
but he works now with the DPW, he, used to have his own lumber.
Rick Clapham.
Clapham,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And,
I wish he still cut trees, 'cause
Yeah, I know.
I need some taken down.
There's a really
Somebody
good
else
group
forgot.
out Barry.
Is that
so there's
Peterson?
4
Yes.
individuals?
Did
I
you say
think
that
there's
it's not
4
too
or
late?
5, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
Mike, was just here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think he's an associate member of their,
Oh.
of their team, their group. And my understanding is an associate member can participate in these meetings, as their representative.
An associate member of a group?
Yes, if he is, so Mike Stolik,
Yeah.
he's an associate member of the, Conservation Commission.
What does that, I don't even know what that means, an associate member.
not a
Well,
full-
that's, it's an interesting
Yeah,
thing, because,
that's-
planning board has an associate member.
Oh.
And the associate member basically attends the special, certain special meetings that we have. They kind of did something similar for the Conservation Commission. That role and responsibility, I'm not completely familiar with. And I'm not even sure if that is something that was officially done, or if it was done as a, something internal.
Hmm.
But I can talk with Rick Green about that and see, who could represent them,
Okay.
okay?
That still
Excuse me.
leaves the fact that we would have to at least have the idea of tweaking the committee bylaw, because there is no housing. So there is no housing committee, so that's a membership that we can never fill.
So let me ask you this here, there's no housing, is the affordable housing and the housing, are those two separate ones?
They're separate.
Okay,
And the affordable housing is just it's an advisory committee, it's not,
I know, Erica Dacty participates in that one. She's part of the planning board,
okay, yes.
so,
Okay, I'm trying to think of
So is that the one that you are on?
I'm on that I'm the rep from CPC on that, like planning board has a rep on there.
So there's
and that's Erica.
two housing groups?
No, that's why I wanted to ask, that you say there's no housing,
There's
but
no housing
there's
group.
there's an affordable housing.
There's an affordable housing committee, which is a
Committee.
separate thing to try to help the town come up with a plan to build on
Affordable housing, because we have the problem of the town does not comply with affordable housing,
Oh, yeah,
minimum
I'm
requirements.
very aware of that.
So that's,
That's
I
a
mean,
big
but, so
issue.
but that is not part of, that committee did not exist when CPC was voted into town, when their committee was designed.
Yeah.
So that's not anything to have to do with this.
Yep.
So a bylaw change would be something along the lines of removing the housing committee position from the CPC.
But the affordable housing would be an interesting one to incorporate here, a main reason is
And if the
that-
affordable housing was voted on, and the persons were voted or appointed by the select board, but it's not,
No,
it's not the same thing.
No.
But that's crazy, not to have a housing person when one of our
Well, housing got,
categories is housing.
housing got folded into the planning board. It was two
Well-
separate entities and now it's one, which that's
Is that a
what.
good thing?
But it's the affordable housing component that was separated.
Okay.
And that's where I think Alice, I don't know if Alice is still working on that one.
No, she's grandma.
She's done.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Capital G, and that's fine, and she's
But,
enjoying
But,
every minute,
yeah, the
but-
affordable housing committee, I can look it up and see who's on there, but it's an advisory committee that's only a few years old and has only had like maybe 3 meetings. It's very little for the affordable housing committee to do without any revenue or place to put affordable housing.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it needs to be proactive.
How many people are on?
It's hard
the-
because
like
in this
5 or
town at
6,
this point in time, in order for
There was
somebody to
a-
be able to do affordable housing, you really need a developer.
Yeah.
And there's no
Yes,
developer
but
here.
if that happens,
We know what will happen.
We know what will
it
happen.
needs to be done
Okay.
tastefully.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, but
Anyway.
and at one point, there was an idea that there might be a development that could go, or a project of some sort that could go into a certain area of town. That fell apart.
Yeah.
So, and that would have been the only leverage that the town had, was to say, okay, we'll help you with this project, but there's gotta be an affordable component, and that's not happening, so that's not part of this conversation.
Yep.
Alright, so, we're gonna have to review, maybe, the next meeting, any potential bylaw changes, given Francois time to talk to Conservation Commission,
Yeah, see if we can get them.
And see if we
at
can
least
get them
to
on
provide
board.
somebody.
at large. Know anybody who wants to join a committee? If we have an
Yeah.
opening.
So that conservation person wears 2 hats then, a house hat and a conservation hat.
No, you're
No.
talking
No,
about
no,
planning.
No,
Oh, I'm
but-
sorry,
Planning.
planning, yeah, for a planning board then. The person on the planning board is also the housing representative for
Well,
you.
it's just like,
No.
'Cause
I'm
it's
not-
been rolled into one, you said.
the Affordable Housing Committee, like, I'm the rep from CPC on that one.
Yeah. Erica Dack.
Erica's the one from Planning
Planning
Board.
Board.
There's someone from the Finance Committee on that one as
Yeah.
well. There's multiple people from different committees has a seat at that table
Yeah.
to try to come up with a plan to do something with affordable housing.
Yeah. That's
Is it
kind of all-
redundant then, or what? I
No,
mean,
it's not redundant,
It's a
because that,
separate-
there's a specific need that the town is trying to address. Or I should say it's not a need, it's actually a
They have to do
requirement.
it, yeah.
Oh, yes, I know.
It's the requirement that they're trying to address. The planning board itself is no longer in charge of affordable housing though. And so as a result of that, that's why you have a separate committee.
And all the members on the committee have some, like, I can speak to CPA funding availability for affordable housing. Planning board can talk about the allowable uses of lands in the
Exactly,
town.
restrictions. allowed
Finance
uses.
can see whether or not the town can leverage anything to get money into it as well. I mean, it's
Sure.
a bunch of different reasons why those folks are there. But that's neither here nor there, we've got this whole thing under control with the meeting bylaw.
Yep.
So the next thing we have to come up with is Sandra doesn't wanna be chair, cause she's evil.
Well, but there's not that much work.
There isn't, but I'm
Well, actually there
retired.
is, I
I'm
mean,
just-
you ultimately have to pull it all together, and that portal
Yeah.
at the end of the year sounds scary, I'm not very.
No,
Okay,
that's
so
a very easy
That's
one.
very easy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's
alright.
Um,
But somebody else.
So you're the, I believe we've already appointed you as treasurer.
Yes, I
Okay.
like the money part. By the end, when I die, I may have figured it all out.
So you're treasurer, I think I'm the
You're
secretary.
taking it all with you.
You can't do that.
Well, you figure out a way how to do it, right?
And I think the only other role we have is chair.
We can nominate Francois.
Unless
Well,
you
I-
wanna give up being secretary.
I'm really good at it.
She loves her job.
I have actually taken 2 additional roles within,
Oh, the town.
yeah,
And you
so-
travel from
And I do
time to
travel,
time.
so the issue with me is I just took on 2 different roles and they are.
Can we be
2
nosy and ask?
Yeah, the structural deficit working group.
Oh, the World
Oh.
2.5 override.
Oh, that's a
So
tough one.
It's a tough nut to crack, and at the same time, we have a lot of work in front of us. And then on top of that, I have a subcommittee meeting that we're also working on, trying to figure out ways in which we can increase revenue from an assessment perspective.
Is that the one Tim Holly's on?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a lot of additional work that I've taken on since we last met in March.
So you don't
I-
wanna be
I-
chair.
I really cannot, be doing this, so I apologize.
Okay, so who wants to be
You want-
secretary?
Do you want,
So-
I will be
You'll stay?
secretary.
Oh, did you want, I was like, you'll stay as chair?
You know, as, I'll do the note, but you just need to understand, when I'm traveling, I'm not gonna be here. So as long as, like,
No.
Well, there's always that to get notes.
well, that's what I say. I, you know, if I can't attend, then I will, you know, look at the meeting and write the notes and do all that. But we have a lot of travel plans.
She said with a
We're going-
smile.
She doesn't even look a little bit sad, does she?
Yeah.
Well, my daughter just got hired by Yosemite National Park.
that's so cool.
And so we're going cross
Which-
country again,
which
and we're,
daughter?
Sarah, she
Oh.
just graduated from college. Yeah, so we're going on another cross country trip, so we're gonna be gone for like a month, and we're going to
Nice.
Florida for a few weeks.
So are we hearing that you've done this before?
I've done chair before.
Oh, okay.
So.
And it's not bad.
It's not bad.
I
It
just think-
sounds like we have it
Well, I mean,
all-
I pulled off a chair when we moved my mother-in-law with us, cause she had dementia and there was just no way.
And that's
Yeah.
when I took it on, that's when I took it on. So unless people don't feel I'll be
Are you-
competent
you're not interested,
as a
are you?
secretary.
No, I'm gonna travel.
Yeah.
Look at these travel birds.
I have a
So
man
I
now.
should make a motion, cause I can make motions still right now, to appoint Sandra Barry as secretary.
I second that.
All in favor? Alright, so
And
then
Danielle is chair.
So it
Loris
has-
made the
We
motion.
have to make a
Oh,
motion.
make a motion that Danielle Arakalian becomes our chair of the
Second
CPC.
that.
Okay, it's a done deal.
Yep.
All in favor? Aye.
Arisa's gonna laugh hysterically. I really had my hopes on you though.
We can tag
I
team
have
here.
roll-
We
We
can.
We can work
I got
together.
taken by
I mean, chair
somebody
is
else.
basically
I just
just
think-
wrangle the cats a little bit, you know? I don't mind, I actually like Stuart, it's always,
Yeah,
it's
he's
always a
nice
very
and
fun,
like-
it's always a
he's
very
nice, yeah.
fun, challenging conversation,
Yeah.
cause he knows his
He's
stuff.
been around, but you know
Yeah.
what? He's gonna retire or something.
No, he's not.
And Chase Mack's gonna take his spot.
Well, but Chase has his role too, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alright, so I think we've done all of our agenda items.
I
We
think
probably
you're right.
need to pick a meeting time though.
Oh, we do, actually,
Yeah.
you're right about
Because
that.
we need to
Where's
be
the
able to,
calendar?
You are absolutely right about that.
And so,
because we need to have the Hubbard,
We have to invite the Hubbardston
Hubbard,
folks.
yeah, the Unitarian Church, you're gonna,
So,
So what's our final date when we have to have everything wrapped up with a vote?
using the end of April, so if we can't get something together
So we should
soon-
try to target sometime in the February timeframe, sort of like in the 3rd, 4th week, maybe just to get
at
the.
the end of February.
so
Yeah,
why don't we
third or
give
fourth week.
ourselves to like,
We
the
can
week
get the
of the
people from
20th,
the
the 19th or the
Unitarian Church
23rd?
in here.
So I
Well, that's for
technically have
vacation.
tentative plans
It's
to be away, so
What about
what would work better for
March?
me is like
Early
the
March?
first Monday or Tuesday in March would work.
Alright, so
Does
what if
that
we
work?
did,
Does
what
that
if we
work?
did March 5th?
March 5th?
March 5th, okay.
That's a, what day?
It's a Tuesday?
Tuesday.
same time?
And that gives us plenty of time to, it gives me time to talk to, Boston, gives Francois time to talk to the Conservation Commission
Yep.
folks.
And I'll invite them, so, alright, so 7:00
Yep.
on, and it will be much lighter then?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And really, the agenda items will just be.
The idea is that whoever attends, if there is somebody from the Conservation Commission, and if they attend on March 5th, they will be already then considered to be an active member of this group.
They'll have to swear in.
They have to be sworn in.
They'll have to be sworn
Yes,
in,
yes,
yes, but-
yes.
For separate
So if-
things,
Yeah.
or just for?
But,
Yeah.
so they have to be sworn in,
Mhm.
but they can then, once they're sworn in, they come
can
here and
vote.
they're a full-fledged
Yep.
Yes.
member.
Yeah.
So I'll let Rick know. And that's kinda like, we're expecting this to happen.
Yes.
Right, that's a much better way to phrase it.
Otherwise, he can come.
So the agenda items will basically be the items that we tabled tonight.
Yeah.
And bylaw review, again.
Bylaw review, yeah, and the, yeah, so both the, Council on Aging, application and the church application.
Right.
We'll ask them to bring people.
Do we need to decide tonight about the warrant?
No.
No.
March then.
That, yeah, but that doesn't have to be due until like April 24th.
That's what I was thinking.
So-
And I mean, we're,
In my
like,
notes.
basically, we had to review if these were allowable use projects and if we
Uh-huh.
had the money to fund it. So we've figured out how to fund the first one, the other two are waiting.
Well, I meant the estimate too, we want.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That,
Tell me again how we can go about getting lights on the pavilion. The Parks Department would do that, or how, it's too late for this
It's
now?
gonna be too late for now because
Okay.
Parks isn't even gonna meet till mid-March.
Okay,
But someone would have to get estimates.
it could be somebody like Kelly Ekbone from the,
Lions.
Yeah,
one of us,
You've
yeah.
gotta get estimates, you have to get an,
Estimate.
idea of where you want them and the
Okay.
cost of them and,
And present it to the next meeting in March, or?
yeah, I mean,
No,
it's fine. I think-
no.
No.
Present it to, whoever comes up with the estimates and all the rest would have to go to the planning board and get permission. The planning
Oh,
board would push
Parks.
the, yeah,
Parks,
sorry.
that's okay.
Okay,
The Parks would push the application through, wouldn't you?
Yes, yeah.
okay,
You
alright.
could bring the idea
Just
and your
not-
information to the Parks and the Parks would either say, yeah, we think this is a great idea, or people might have reasons why they don't want it. 'Cause I will tell you, a lot of people on High Street don't like a lot of lights down in the, down there. That's always a consideration, but,
I
and
mean-
not
I mean,
just,
I think-
not
you
just
mean
High
like for
Street.
the
That's-
But I think that
that's
the
in-
ball field lights would have been
In my
a
backyard,
better
and I don't,
thing.
I can see 68 through my trees now.
Yeah, I think it was
and-
more the ball, like the baseball fields.
Yeah.
No, I
That's-
understand that,
would
but a
have been
lot of people in town always talk about the night light and the light
Oh, the
pollution.
dark skies.
So so
Dark
I'm just
skies.
saying, there might be a reason why, like we've always kind of been shot down putting lights on the basketball court. Okay, people
Okay.
complain, so,
They just don't want kids up there
Okay,
at
well,
night.
that's,
Well,
that's a thought.
so I'm
yeah.
just saying,
Yeah, okay,
so, you know, discuss it with the Lions and see what they see, but
Mhm.
you can bring it forward,
see, it's not the Lions anymore, now it's the town, that's why
It's
we
the
have no
town.
say,
yeah,
that's why I couldn't,
so.
do the.
Well, I mean, truly, you can bring it, you can
Parks
bring
and
the
Rec?
idea,
Yeah.
someone from
It goes
Lions
back
can,
there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause that's, it's
someone
bouncing
from
like a
Lions
ping
can
pong
come to
ball.
Parks and say, hey, we think this would be a great idea.
Even though Lions isn't involved with it, we
Correct.
handed it over to the town.
Correct,
Yeah.
but if the Parks on their own, if I bring it up at a meeting, people are like, yeah, we don't think we need that, it's not gonna go anywhere.
Okay.
Someone who thinks they need it, needs to bring it forward.
Okay, alright. Alright, that's good.
So are we ready to, should I make a motion to adjourn? Are we done with all the items?
I think so, unless
So I'll
I
make
think
a
of
motion
anything
at
else to discuss.
8:05.
Was this recorded?
Yes.
It was, oh, that's good.
You made the motion?
I did, and you seconded it.
That's a
Fine,
fun time to
second
think
angle.
about it.
Undebatable.
My
All in
lights.
favor? Aye?
Aye.
Alright.
Majority wins.
Yeah.